come down to a comfortable seat on your mat. And then you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Now, if this is tight on your hips already, you might actually want 2 blocks. Because we're going to use blocks to put underneath your knees in Baddha Konasana or bound angle pose. So actually grab one more block just to show you what that looks like. So if you want to use the support of the blocks tonight, you'll just place them underneath your knees. Some people like them a little bit angled, so your feet together. And if you want to go without the blocks for Baddha Konasana, just move them off to the side. Grab a hold of either your shins or your ankles to sit up nice and tall. Really press the soles of your feet together and see if you can pull your toes back and then press the mounds of your feet together. This will start to really exaggerate the arch of your foot, and you'll see how that activation of the muscles of your feet again help to lift right in the center. And grabbing hold of your ankles again, maybe scoot your pelvis a little bit closer and sit up nice and tall. Once you get to a place that like this is pretty good, you can feel your knees starting to naturally drop down, then you can move your hands behind you. You might notice that the balls of your feet no longer touch just the top rather behind your big toe mound. That's okay. You just want to keep pressing them towards each other and use your hands behind you to sit up nice and tall. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Closing your eyes, not worrying about the shape that your body is in. Inhale again through your nose, or rather what the shape looks like. Exhale through your nose. But noticing where you feel sensation. And if you notice yourself dropping back, maybe pull yourself up onto just the tips of your fingers behind you. Keep pushing your chest slightly forward so that your spine stays stacked. And again, easy rhythm in through your nose, out through your nose. See if your shoulders are gathering up towards your ears. See if you can maybe bend your elbows now a little bit to draw your shoulder blades down your back without letting your spine droop or shrink. And as you get a hold of a good rhythm for your breath, a cadence that is slow and steady, a pace that is relaxing yet invigorating, where you can feel the full expanse of your lungs on the inhale, and you can feel your navel draw in and hollowing out at the bottom of your exhale, so that the full volume of your lungs completely expands and then completely contracts, so there's no stale air left in your lungs. Do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. Slightly open your eyes, gaze back down at your legs, and notice if your knees maybe dropped a little bit lower. Bring your hands out in front of you again, and then 2 options. Option 1 is you can use your hands on your shins or on your ankles to pull yourself gently forward into a fold, or you can walk your hands forward. Inhale, take a halfway lift so that your spine stays straight. And then exhale, drop your chin into your chest and roll forward. Inhale, lift and extend your spine. And then exhale, drop your chin into your chest. Flexion in the spine. And inhale, spinal extension. And then exhale, spinal flexion. Now, on your next breath in, lift up halfway so that you're not moving into flexion or extension. And then from there, see if you can hinge a little bit deeper at the hips. So without letting your chin drop, without letting that curvature come into your spine. You can grip onto the mat again, or you can grip onto your ankles. You might even walk your hands underneath and grip them down onto the floor. This is called butterfly pose. Take another 2 breaths here. Keep your feet flexing back. Notice if that arch got a little droopy. Keep that integration in the bottoms of your feet pressing into each other. And then slowly come up. Bring your hands to the outside of your knees and gently bring them to close. And then we'll roll onto our back. Finding a little bit of gentle movement here. Place both feet down on the floor. Lift into a bridge pose. Press your toes down. And then exhale, slowly lower yourself back down. So now your whole spine is strung out like beads, nice and long. Bring your left knee in and gently drop it down. And then interlace your hands, pull your knee down. Flex your foot, just like we did in Baddha Konasana. And then with the right hand, reach around and capture the knife edge of your foot. So we're coming into a figure 4 position, starting with our right knee bent, right foot planted on the ground. All right, so you want to bring the outside of your ankle just above your knee. Make sure that your hips stay square here, and then press your left knee away from you. All right, so notice that feels like a pretty good stretch on your hip to start. And if your gentle movement needs a little bit more fire, more agony in it, then reach with your right hand and capture the outside of your left foot. Keep that foot flexed. Notice if you're sickling your ankle, if the outside of your ankle is pushing away from you, do your best to keep integration all the way around. And then pull gently your left foot towards your chest. With your left hand, place it on the outside of your left knee. Give it a little push away from you so that you are straightening your leg and drawing it up across your chest, as though you could bring the inside of your shin across your nipples. Keep that foot flexed, and you're pressing the bottom of that foot into the heel of your hand, and the heel of your hand should nestle right into the arch of that foot. All right, and then if you want to add just a little bit more fire, then start to lift your head up. You're going to take this right hand, bring the elbow to the outside of the foot, nestle it in. Interlace your hands so now the left elbow wraps around the outside of the left knee. Chest stays lifted. Draw that shin even closer in across your chest. And maybe you can extend that right leg. Pull your chest up. Woo! Using the weight of your chest to draw your shin a little bit closer to you. And then find 3 smooth breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Pull your chest maybe a little closer. Keep pressing the bottom of your foot into your elbow crease. Last inhale. And then exhale, release your hands, losing yourself to guide yourself down. Plant the left foot down on the mat and draw your right knee in. Give it a little gentle squeeze down to the right side so your ribs and your thighs meet. Flex that foot and then place the outside of the right ankle across your leg so that it's just below your knee. Keep that foot flexed. Press your right knee away from you. And again, hips are nice and square here. So from hips up, you're very symmetrical. All right, and then as you apply a gentle pressure out, drawing that knee out, decide if this is where you stay tonight to warm up, or if you start to add that element of fire, just slowly build it. So, first step, be to lift that right leg off. With your left hand, reach around, grab the knife edge, the outside edge of your right foot. Flex that foot back. Press your foot into your palm and then apply a gentle pressure with the right hand to the inside of the right knee. Now, very important again to keep that ankle strong so that as you apply that pressure to your knee, it should not hurt the knee because the integration from the feet radiates all the way up. Last week we were talking about how much feet integration and placement actually even affects all the way up into your hamstring. It's especially true though around your knee. Try and keep your shoulders resting down on the mat. Use your left hand to gently pull your right foot a little bit closer. And then you just apply a little bit of pressure with that right hand. If you'd like to go deeper, lift your torso up, holding on to your right foot with your right hand, scoop around, left foot to the outside, right arm gathers around the right knee and interlace your hand. Keep that foot flexed so that you really feel the knife edge digging into that crease of your left elbow. And then pull your chest up. Maybe walk the left foot forward. Breathe in and out. 3 deep breaths. In and out through your nose. Last time. Inhale. Hearing it scrape across the back of your throat, the texture. And then hearing it as you exhale across the roof of your mouth. All right, then slowly release. Keep that right knee pulled in and draw your knee out to the side. Reach up with your right hand, capture the outside of your right foot. Happy baby. We're going to bring the left leg up, knee to the outside of the chest. Reach up with your left hand for the outside of your left knee, and then anchor your pelvis down. Open your feet out a little bit wider so that the bottoms of your feet are pressing up towards the ceiling, and then with your hands, hold them back down. As you pull your feet down, feel right across the top of your shoulders, anchoring down into the mat. Feel your pelvis anchoring down into the mat as well. Flex those feet back. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Pull your feet down. Press your feet up. So your hands and your feet are in this tug of war where they're at a stalemate, but there's so much energy going on, so much movement that you can't see. One more deep breath in and then exhale. Slowly release. Bring your hands just below your knees, pull them in, and then point and flex your ankles. Bring your knees closer together. Flex and point. And then slip your hands behind your knees, lift your legs up, and then slowly rock forward. All right, from here, you're gonna make your way all the way to Uttanasana, forward fold. Gently bringing yourself up, and then start with your feet out a little bit wide. So if you were to take your hips, you'd want your hips to drop down in between your feet. So the inside edges of your feet are as wide as your hips. Then bringing your hands behind your ankles and your knees bending, gently pull yourself down. You should feel your knees actually start to get into your armpits. And if your knees can't get into your armpits, then bend your knees more. So you want to feel like your body is a puzzle and this piece and this piece just fit together. Relax the crown of your head down. Gaze at your feet. Inhale, press your feet down to lift your hips a little bit higher. Exhale, relax. Feel your knees glide back into your armpits. Inhale, press through your feet, lift your hips high. Exhale, bend, slip back into this puzzle piece. One more time. Inhale, press through your feet, lift your hips high. Relax your hands away from your ankles and let them come down in front of your shoulders. Heel toe your feet now, hip width distance apart. You can drop both fists down in between your toes. Inhale, press into your shins, lift halfway. And exhale, fold down. Find a deep compression. Inhale, press through your feet. Let that guide you all the way up to standing and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Drop your hands down. Inhale, raise them up. And then exhale, fold all the way down. Bring your hands down. Step your left foot back. Keep that left leg super straight. Draw your right knee forward. Gaze forward and then lower your left knee down. Low lunge, press the top of that left foot down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Draw your right knee a little bit more forward. Pull your ribs in. And then feel that left psoas starting to open. Gaze is forward and your hips and your shoulders are aligned and square. If somebody drew a line across your shoulders, down to hip point, that rectangle would all be in the same plane. Exhale, place both hands down to the mat. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, and step back with your right foot, plank pose. Inhale here in plank. And then gaze all the way down to your toes. You want your feet hip width distance apart here. Then gazing back down between your hands, inhale, raise your heels high over your toes. Exhale, drop both heels over to the left. Press down through the left hand. Inhale, draw both heels up to center. Exhale, drop both heels down to the right. Now do your best not to let that right hip sag down. Instead, keep it in line. You'll feel a little bit more pressure in that right hand. Inhale into center. Exhale, heels to the left. This time, maybe pivot. Tap your right hand to your right hip. Bring the right hand back down. Draw both heels up. Inhale. Exhale, heels drop to the right. Press your right palm down. Keep your right hip lifted. And maybe start to stack your hips. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Working on some arm strength. Come back into center. And then exhale, bring your knees down, chest and chin down. Pull forward, let your pelvis come down. Press your feet down and rise up, Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. Draw your heels towards each other, lift your gaze directly forward. And exhale down, tuck your toes, press up and back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg high, step it forward towards your left thumb, and then pull your left knee over your left ankle. Keep your right leg super straight and strong, gaze forward, call this dart lunge, and then lower your right knee down. Untuck your right toes, press that top of that foot down. Inhale, bring both arms up. Again, think about that rectangle. Shoulder, shoulder, hip, hip. Try and square that to the front of your mat. Gaze directly forward Hands, you can even bring your hands down. Think about pulling your ribs in towards midline and keeping that stitch all the way down to your navel, like you were suturing your ribs together. That will keep your core engaged. As you slowly open up that right psoas, doing the stretch all the way from the femur head connection to your low back. One more breath in. Exhale, place your hands down, tuck your back toes, and big step forward, forward fold at the front of your mat. Press your feet down, glide your hands up your shins, inhale halfway, and exhale, fold. Sweep your arms wide, inhale, come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Drop your hands down, inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Hands come down. This time, step the right foot back to start. Draw your left knee forward, right leg super straight. And then exhale, lower your right knee down. Press the top of that foot down. Inhale, sweep both of your arms up. All right, so from here, we're going to start to add in a little bit. Lift your gaze. Heel toe that left front foot over to the left side just a little bit so that as you bring your hands down, they both come down to the inside now of that left foot. All right, so runner's lunge, and this is what it looks like from a front view. So this left leg is just a little bit out to the side. Both hands come down, and you'll see that my hands are directly underneath my shoulders. All right, so from here, you can walk your hands forward so that you lower your torso down to the floor. If you have a block, you can bring that block in on the lowest height and bring both forearms down. Depending on how your hips are doing today, you can bring them all the way down to the mat. Now do your best here to start by keeping this left knee and left shoulder close together, as though they were magnets and then they wanted to touch. We'll let it drop out eventually to the side, but keep your big toe pressing down into the mat here. Keep drawing that knee and shoulder towards each other. Might find just a little movement forward and back. And then slowly bring your hands back in under your shoulders. From here, keep your right hand down and lift your left arm up, taking just a gentle twist. Again, keep drawing that left knee in so that you're not dropping to the outside of that foot. And then bend your back knee. See if you can capture that foot. So a little quad stretch. It also will come all the way again back up through to that right psoas. So right hand is planted, left leg is reaching back. And if you're bending that leg and you can't quite get there, then you can always just bring yourself into a half bind, taking that left hand, maybe finding your pants and just using that as an anchor to pull your left shoulder back. You can also lasso this with the strap, something like that. Again, from here, you can also walk your right hand forward, maybe come down to that right forearm. And as you breathe here, feeling that heat starting to rise in the right leg, let your breath be like a bellow, slowly feeding that fire, focusing on the sensation, making small shifts. And then slowly, if your forearm is down, press up. Release the right foot. Bring the left hand back down. All right, so from here, now we're going to let ourselves drop out to the side. So both hands are to the inside of your left foot. Now I want you to flex that foot. So all the toes are lifted up off of the floor. And then start to drop that out to the side. So you'll still see that really high arch, activated foot. Let your knee drop out. And then keeping that outside of the left foot grounded, again, maybe walk your hands down. You can also bring in the block or keep your hands pressed down into the floor, straight elbows. Another 2 breaths. Inhale and exhale. And plant your hands under your shoulders. Press your left foot back down. Tuck your right toes. And then, keeping your hands to the inside of that left foot, take a big step forward and out. So your feet are wide. Pivot on your heels, toes out, heels in, and drop down into Malasana. Again, you can take a prop, set it down underneath your 2 hip points and rock back onto that, or stay on your feet. Now, for some people, getting this low is impossible. That's fine. You can be a little bit higher. You can also maybe have your heels lifted here, though it's a little bit harder on balance. Wherever you are, you want to bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and press them apart. Press your palms together. Root your hips down a little bit more so that they're below your knees, no matter how high up you are in this pose, and straighten your spine. Pull your palms in towards your sternum. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. See if you can lower your hips a little bit more. Then let your hands drop down. Press through your feet. Inhale, come all the way to standing and feel the strength in your legs, drawing all the way up from your rooted feet. Inhale, arms up. Pivot on your heels, feet hip width distance apart. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Drop your hands, inhale, stretch up. And then exhale, fold. Plant your hands down. Step your left foot back. Draw your right knee forward over your right ankle. And then lower your left knee down. Press the top of that foot down. Inhale, sweep both of your arms up. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then heel toe that right foot out just about an inch or 2. Exhale, bring both hands down to the inside of your right foot. So we're going to start with our runner's lunge. Slowly lowering your torso down any amount to the ground. So you can walk your hands just a little bit forward or a lot forward. Plant that block to the inside of your right foot, or lower your forearms all the way down. Now, as you come down, again, remember to do your best not to let that knee drop out to the side. So we're gonna get there, you know it's coming. Imagine that it is a magnet and your right knee and your right shoulder are connected. Feel that left psoas start to open a little bit more. And then slowly walk your hands back under your shoulders. Keep your left arm, left palm planted. Reach your right arm up and back. Bend your left knee. Maybe your hand and your foot connect. And if they don't connect, you can take that half line, just bringing that right hand behind you towards the left hip. And if they do connect, grab a hold of that foot. Gently draw your heel in towards your glute. Decide if you want to stay here, pressing through your left palm, or maybe walk your left hand forward, dropping that forearm down to the ground. Imagine that left side getting nice and long. A stretch all the way, really across your ankle. It starts here, especially if you have a hold of your foot across the top of your knee, along your quad, across that left hip, and then radiating up all the way into that left armpit along your side body. You're down on your left elbow, press into your left palm to bring you back up. Slowly release your left leg back down. Sweep your right arm back so you're square again to the front. Press your right foot down into the ground and then peel your right toes up. So as you do that, and you can relax and then again pull it up. And notice again what happens to your arch. Maybe even looking up to your shin, what happens all the way up to your knee. And so the muscles integrate and support around the knee. Keep that flexion and drop your right leg out. So you're just pivoting onto the knife edge of that right foot into nuclear pigeon pose. So really wide open pigeon. You can walk your hands forward again. You'll probably take something similar to what you did in runner's lunge. Again, you can always use the block underneath your forearms. Breathing slowly, letting this be an integration. So we're still using our muscles. We're still supporting around our knee, but it's a slow, gentle heat. You're just slowly building that fire, right? You're still putting on sticks. You're not putting on the big logs yet. You got to build that heat so it can sustain. All right. And then walk your hands back in under your shoulders. Pull your right knee in. Tuck your left toes. You want to keep that right foot wide. Gaze forward and then take a big step. Maybe it's a couple steps forward. Hinge on your heels and drop down Galavasana. Bring your elbows to the inside of your knees, palms together. Lengthen through your spine. So not flexing or extending. Pressing palms together, drawing your thumbs towards your sternum. All right, and then we're going to go into our first attempt at an arm balance. So you're going to bring your palms down in front of you. Now what you want to do is have your hands shoulder distance or maybe a little bit wider, just a smidge. Rock forward and draw your heels up. Start to just notice the weight as you rock forward, moving into your fingertips and then come back down. Plant your palms again, rock forward, and you'll feel the heels of your hands get a little bit light, and then down. Do that one more time, rock forward, move the weight into your fingers, gaze down at your fingers. The tips of your fingers, if your nails aren't painted, are going to be white, right? And I want you to press into your fingers to initiate the movement to come back down. All right, so now that we did a little bit of that, we're actually going to move into Crow Pose Bakasana. So hands come back down, shoulder width distance or a little bit wider, palms spread wide, rock forward, lift your heels up, and then lift your hips up. Bring your knees in and set them down a little bit to the outside of your triceps. Now, once you have that connection, draw your knees in more. So you're actually pulling that skin across. And then you'll feel your kneecaps going into the back of your triceps. We might have bruises tomorrow. Draw your gaze long and forward. And then lift maybe one toe, maybe both toes. Maybe bring the inside of your feet towards each other. Keep squeezing your knees in, navel up and in, and then exhale, release down. All right, now I'm gonna have you drop onto your glutes. We're gonna do a little bit of core work. Come all the way down, finding that same movement, that same integration of the core, but on our backs. All right, so start with a little stretch. Bring your heels just behind your hips. Inhale, press up into bridge pose. And this might bring a little bit of sensational awareness to your low back. Reach for the outside of your mat, draw your shoulder blades together, press down evenly through your feet, so even the big toe mounds press down. Lift your chest, lift your hips towards the sky. Exhale, hold. Keep pulling your knees towards each other so they maintain a hip-width distance. Inhale, press. And then exhale, down. All right, curl yourself up. Bring your hands behind your knees. Sit up nice and tall. Pull your shoulder blades together and down your back. Draw your navel in, keeping your peace fingers. So I always was like, what are they talking about? So it's your pointer finger and your middle finger, peace sign. Slip them right into the crevice of your knees. And then using that hook, lift your left and then your right knee up, or foot up rather. And now you can slip maybe your whole hand in there if that feels better. Pull against your knees to again lift and lengthen. All right, stay here in Navasana, boat pose, or straighten both of your legs. You might notice you'll start to round. Find that balance, pull your chest up. Point your feet, maybe reach your hands towards your ankle. Draw your navel back, lift your chest, and then bend your knees, slip your hands down. Come back up. Bring your hands outside your knees and pull your chest up. All right, so we're gonna do that, but in a Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana was this. We're gonna take this and lift it up. All right, so hands slip behind your knees. Lots of core work. Lift, lift. Now I want you to flex. Bring your feet together. Start to open them out wide so your knees come out wide. Bring your hands to your ankles or to your shins, and again, find that pull up. Now, it's a balancing act here. See if you can press your palms forward and draw your knees up and in. Woo! Draw your navel up. Press your palms maybe to your feet. Lift your heels a little bit higher. Flex your toes back. Exhale, bring your hands down to the outside of your knees. Draw them in. Plant your feet down, hands to the outside of the tops of your knees, and pull your chest up. Deep breath in and out. Release down. Draw your knees into your chest. Reach up. Again, take happy baby pose. Bringing your hands to the outside of your feet. Pulling down, pressing your feet up. Ground your hips, ground the tops of your shoulders down into the mat. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands down. Slip them behind your knees. This time, maybe using a little bit of momentum, we're gonna find our way to a forward fold at the front of your mat. So you can reach your legs up, Maybe roll once or twice. I think that the key to finding the balance to come onto your feet is to reach your arms forward. So if you want to try that again, reach, flip your ponytail up, and then find a forward fold in front of your mat. Hip width distance apart with your hands. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Draw your arms all the way up. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. All right, a little bit different now. We did more of a classical sun variation to start. Now we're going to do a little bit more of a Surya Namaskar B, or sun salutation B, to get a little bit more into our hips. All right, so arms lifted, feet hip width distance apart. You're going to bend your knees and draw your hips back behind you, coming into a chair pose, Utkatasana. Gaze directly out in front of you. Press your palms towards each other, radiate your fingers, and then draw your thumbs back just a little bit. See if you can lower the bottom tips of your hips down to get you a little bit more engaged in your quads. And again, remember your ribs coming in and suturing right down the middle to the navel, like a button at the end of the string. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale, lower down all the way. Press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, lift up halfway, cobra. And then exhale, lower, tuck your toes. Press up and back, down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot forward. And you're gonna step your right foot forward, your back leg just a little bit. Anchor the heel down towards midline so the toes are pointing out. And then just like we did in that dart lunge, draw your left knee back forward over your ankle. Pull your left, or your right hip rather, a little bit more forward. Inhale up, Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So you're working that right hip forward. And if this is just really uncomfortable on that back leg, you can pivot and lift your heel up. Otherwise, you're really grounding down through the knife edge of that back foot. Gaze forward, pull your left knee more forward, and then keeping your gaze forward, you're gonna step up into one-legged mountain pose. So you're gonna bring that right leg, the back leg, all the way forward and up. Flex that foot, and then bring it into a figure four, hands down to heart center. So big balance, big shift. So you're going from back, standing, keep that foot flexed, bring the ankle just above the knee, sit down and back, hands down to heart center. All right, from here, drop your hands down. Place one hand to the inside of your right knee and the other hand on the base of your foot. Press your foot into your hand and your hand back into your foot, and then gently find a little bit of stretch by applying some pressure to the inside of your knee. This foot flexed, activated, arch lifted. It's going to radiate that integration all the way up to your knee so you can safely start to get a little bit of opening into your hip. See if you can sit down and back. Move your gaze to something that's not moving. Take a breath in and out. And inhale and exhale. Last breath in. Exhale, let that right leg slip down to the left. Utkatasana chair pose back at the front of the mat. Keep your arms lifted. Feel those legs start to warm up, get a little bit hot, and then press to straight. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back into a plank position. Inhale. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, palms down to lift head, neck, and chest, cobra pose. And exhale, lower, tuck your toes. Press up into plank and then back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, step your right foot forward towards your right thumb. Gaze back at your left leg. Step it 1 footprint forward. Ground the heel down towards midline, toes out to the left side of your mat. And then in that dark light position, bring your right knee forward over your ankle. Sweep your arms forward and up. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So again, think about pressing down strongly through the outside edge of your left foot. Left leg is super strong. And anchoring that will bring your left hip towards the front. Come more forward in your right knee. So you feel the weight start to shift. And lift the left heel up. Press into your right foot and come into a standing one-legged Tadasana, one-legged mountain pose at the front of your mat. So left knee is lifted. So again, that transition is from back to front. All right, with that foot flexed, start to lift the arch up to the ceiling, sit down and back, figure 4 standing. Draw your hands down to heart center and then let them slip down. Place your right hand to the bottom of your left foot and left hand to the inside of your left knee. Flex that foot, press it into your palm, and then gently apply some pressure, getting into the outside of that hip. See if your hips can start to drop down, bending your knee, and then shift your gaze. Move it to something that's not moving, not the screen. Take 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just inhale. Exhale, slide your left foot down to meet your right. Inhale, arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Press evenly through both feet, sit your hips down and back. Exhale, this time fold. Heel toe your feet wide. Plant your hands down. You're gonna take crow pose, Bakasana, 1 more time. Palms down, a little bit wider than shoulder width distance apart. Lift your heels up, lift your hips up. Bring your knees high on your tricep. Rock forward. Move your gaze even farther forward, about a foot in front of your fingertips. And then as you squeeze your knees in, feel the weight shift into those fingertips. They're getting light. Lift 1 or both feet up off the ground. Pull your navel up towards the ceiling. And then plant your feet back down. Malasana. All right. This time, you might want a block. And so you'll just place that block behind you. Lift your hips up into an Uttanasana forward fold. You can just be wherever behind you. Inhale, pull your heart up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Keep your arms wide. Come all the way up to standing, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down to heart center. All right, so we're going to move back into that figure 4. And we're going to maybe try and take it a little bit deeper into an arm balance. And so as I walk us through into the arm balance, You can stop anywhere that feels like A, a really good stretch on your hips for where your body is tonight, or B, a place where you just can't go any further. That's totally fine. So listen to your body. No one can see you because you're in your own home. It's so great. And so even if you attempt it and you maybe fall a little bit on your face or you fall back on your butt, nobody can tell. And if I do it, we can all laugh together. All right. So we're going to lift our arms back up, feet hip width distance apart, and sit down and back into chair pose. Now, from here, we're again going to go into our figure four. So we started with the right leg lifted. Swing the arch of that right foot up and place it in your figure four position. Sit down and back, keep that foot flexed. Bring your hands down to heart center. Feel that nice stretch. Start to hinge and fold forward. So as you hinge and fold forward, this is going to deepen the stretch. And if that feels really good tonight, then you can take that block or prop and just place it down in front of you, supporting yourself in this gentle hinge forward. You want to use the block to see if you can get into the arm balance, then put it back behind your ankles. And foot is flexed. You're going to bring your hands all the way down to the floor in front of you. Now you'll notice both hands are to the inside of that foot, and my toes, much like our knees were in Bakasana, are wrapping around my upper tricep. So you're gonna use that grip, and your triceps, instead of being point loads, are instead going to carry the weight of your body across the distribution of your shin. So that looks like from the side, hands come down, and then typically we have to lift our heel up to get our palms all the way down on the ground. Curl your toes around your tricep so that shin stays high up, about midline of your tricep, and then your back heel is lifted. Again, move your gaze forward. Start to feel the weight move into your fingers, and then you can lift that back toe up. You can place it on the block if you want, something to hold on to, or heel towards your glute. Woo, big stretch on that hip. Navel is working here. And then first you stay compact. Eventually, you can also extend that leg long. Whew. When you're done, you'll just bring that foot down, uncross, and find a wide leg forward fold. Bend into one knee and then the other, swaying. So a lot of similarities to Crow Bakasana in the fingers, the hands, the navel drawing up and in to lift us high, but it's asymmetrical, so a little bit more difficult there, and it brings a bigger sensation into our hips. All right, heel toe your feet hip width distance apart, bend your knees, inhale, come all the way up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana, and we'll move into the second side. Make sure you're breathing. Bend your knees, come down into chair pose. All right, so we'll move on to the second side. Again, a little bit different. Instead of your knees being point loads, so one knee on either side of the tricep, your shin starts to distribute the weight. So in some senses, it might feel a little bit easier for you to start to shift forward. Arm balances are kind of all over the place until one day you find the way to move your body around and balance. So maybe you have a heavier torso, Maybe you have biker legs that are just like way heavy. So you're gonna have to find those little shifts and movements. All right, enough staying in Utkatasana. Lift the other leg and then bring it across in figure 4. Hands down to heart center. And then begin to hinge. Again, this is a great place to stay. And if you stayed all through the arm balance, this is gonna feel amazing on your hips. So hands can just come to a prop. Your hands can also come all the way down to the floor, and maybe just fingertips, and they stay there. If you want to work into the pose, and again, if you liked having that block behind you to lift your toes up to, then place that block right behind your heels. Otherwise, you want to bend down so much so that you can get your hands down, and then walk them forward a little bit so you can bring your palms down. Now, as you shift forward, make sure that you're keeping the shin as high up as you can on your tricep. Curl your toes around, anchor. And then, scariest part, start to shift just the weight a little bit into your hands. Feel it move into your finger pads. Keep your gaze forward. Don't look at your fingers. Don't look at those back toes. Look in front of you. And from here, maybe lift one heel. You only got one heel on the ground. Maybe lift those toes. You can stay there or extend that leg. When you're done, bring that foot down, the other foot wide, and bend into one knee and then the other. And then we'll stay down. Plant your hands, walk them forward to bring your knees down to the mat. Slide your feet around. And you'll keep the left heel drawn in. Take your right bent knee over the top. For Matsyendrasana, twisted pose. So, with your right knee bent, you're going to take your right hand behind you. Place that palm right at the base of your spine. Press that hand down to lengthen your spine so that your spine can be the pole which you pivot around. Reach your left arm up. Start to shift your torso over to your right side, and then bring that elbow outside the knee. If that's too much, you can also bring the elbow outside and draw that knee into your chest. So whichever feels better. Inhale again, straighten your spine. See if you can bring that right hip down to the ground. Mine's always a little bit lifted. And then exhale, pivot. If you have any sensitivity in your neck, then don't shift your gaze over your shoulder, but instead keep your chin in line with the top of your sternum. And take 3 deep breaths here. One more inhale and exhale. Slowly release. Unwind your right foot, pull your left out, and then bring your right heel in towards the base of your pelvis. Lift your left leg up and over, planting the foot down. Then you'll bring your left hand down right at the base of your spine. Inhale your right arm up, and then exhale, twist, bringing the elbow either to the outside of the knee or hugging around that knee, drawing it into your chest. Take a deep breath in and out. And inhale and exhale. Last time. And as you exhale, slowly release the twist. Unwind your legs, strap them out in front of you. Slowly lower yourself down to the mat, and you can either take corpse pose, feet extended, dropping out to the side. Or you can plant your feet wide and let your knees drop in towards each other. Arms out by your side, palms up. Let your chest gently rise and fall. Slipping into a natural cadence. And then if your knees are lifted up towards the ceiling, pull them back apart and drop both knees to the left. Take a couple breaths there. And lift your knees back up and drop both knees to the right. And lift both knees back up. And if you have your feet extended, then pull them back in and drop back over to the left and roll all the way onto the left side. Press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Cross your legs. Sit up nice and tall. Take a full breath in and out. Plant your hands together at heart center. Let your thumbs rest on your sternum. Inhale, draw them up to your forehead, third eye center. Be curious. Follow your breaths. Namaste.